It's Wednesday, December 22nd, and this is now on HNN.
Those who remain unvaccinated are the most vulnerable.
Pfizer's pill becomes the first authorized home COVID treatment in the U.S.
Significant need to get more booster shots out there.
Amid the spike in cases here in Hawaii, we get an update on how many people are being hospitalized.
It's the most wonderful time of the year and maybe the most stressful. I'm Bradley Blackburn with a new poll on holiday stress and what you can do about it.
Plus, Omicron is not slowing down holiday travel as the rush begins. We'll take you to the airport coming up on This Is Now.
Breaking news in regards to a case we've been following here at HNN. At least 2 people have been arrested in the shooting death of security guard and former police officer Kevin Nishita. He has ties to the islands. Oakland, California police say Nishita was shot in an attempted robbery of a news crew in downtown Oakland on November 24th, and he died days later. He was supposed to be in Hawaii this month, enjoying a family vacation and visiting loved ones here. We still don't know who was arrested in connection with this case. We'll continue to follow the story and bring you any updates as they come in.
Aloha and thank you for watching. This is Now. Let's get right to those latest coronavirus numbers. The state health department is reporting 961 new COVID cases today, along with 2 more deaths. The breakdown of infections by island shows 866 cases on Oahu, 58 on Maui, 21 on the Big Island, 7 on Kauai, 2 on Lanai, 1 on Molokai, and 6 residents were diagnosed out of state. With more on exactly how many people are being hospitalized in this latest surge, here's Hilton Rathel. He's the head of the Healthcare Association of Hawaii.
In terms of hospitalizations today, we have 68 COVID positive patients in our hospital. 14 of those are vaccinated, and the positivity rate statewide, this is statewide, is 7.5. So 7.5% positivity rate. Now, if we look at Oahu, the numbers are even more problematic. Oahu has a positivity rate of 9.6%, which is a dramatic increase from where it has been. We are seeing in some segments of the community positivity rates of 20+%. And it's not just one segment in the community. Some of the FQHCs, federally qualified health centers, community health centers, experiencing very high positivity rates. And one of the things that they're also concerned about is that with the Delta variant, there's a lot of families in Hawaii, multi-generational families, a lot of people living in a single household. With the Delta variant, we would have some people in those households who are positive and others who are not. We're seeing consistent cases now with the Omicron variant where everyone in the household is infected. And part of the reason for that is the transmission, or the Omicron variant is much more easily transmitted than the Delta variant. In other words, you need less exposure with Omicron than you do with Delta.
New today, the FDA has authorized the first pill to treat COVID-19. Pfizer's antiviral pill Paxlevid is now authorized for high-risk adults and children 12 and older. Studies show it reduces the risk of hospitalizations and death by 88% if given within the first 5 days of symptoms. A 5-day course of the drug includes 3 pills twice a day. In November, the Biden administration announced it would be buying 10 million treatments for more than $5 billion. Pfizer says it's ready to start delivering it in the U.S. immediately. Meanwhile, the fast-spreading Omicron variant is causing a surge in the purchasing of at-home COVID tests. So much so that 2 of the largest pharmacy chain stores in the U.S., CVS Health and Walgreens, are limiting the number of tests a person can buy. In a statement, CVS said, to ensure access to tests both in-store and online, they've added a limit of 6 test kits per purchase. That's 2 more than Walgreens is now allowing. And we also just got this update in from the White House COVID task force.
I think we've been intensively involved in getting the response to the Omicron variant. We jumped all over it. All of us spent the entire Thanksgiving weekend getting enough information to be able to respond in an appropriate way to Omicron. So again, admittedly, we can always do better, but I can't think of something specifically that we would have done differently.
Holiday gatherings and risk of travel really has less to do with the airplane or car ride and much more to do with how people from different households behave in the weeks to days before meeting up. Importantly, consider gathering with family and friends who are also practicing similar proper prevention measures. And as we have said before, those who remain unvaccinated are the most vulnerable to COVID-19.
The University of Hawaii has extended its COVID-19 telework policy another month through January 31st of next year. It was supposed to expire on December 31st, but officials say it will remain in place to allow more time for school administration to evaluate voluntary telework requests. Starting January 3rd, all employees will have to be in compliance with the university's mandatory vaccination policy. And UH officials say an undisclosed number of Warrior football players are in isolation due to possible COVID exposure. The school would not say if the affected athletes will be able to play in the upcoming Hawaii Bowl set for Christmas Eve. The Hawaii Bowl scrapped plans for last night's luau and today's banquet. Now to an update on the tainted water crisis. Honolulu Civil Beach Chad Blair joined us today on Sunrise to explore the strategic importance of storing fuel at Red Hill and why the Navy wants to keep it there.
Starting off, why is this such a matter of national security according to the Navy?
Yeah, this is Anita Hofschneider's story. She did a terrific job. And in one word, it's China. There's concerns about China's expansion clearly happening in the Pacific theater. And of course, Taiwan is right at the top of that list of concerns. The Navy describes Hawaii as a national security asset, that it is absolutely essential, absolutely critical to maintain the military presence here. And by the way, to have the fuel in order to supply their needs should some sort of conflict develop with China or another enemy.
And your reporter points out the fact that a lot of different entities would be able to use this fuel should there be any type of conflict or we get shut off, right?
Yeah, this really actually kind of surprised me. Anita did talk to a lot of experts, and the Navy says that if for some reason there was a conflict, some sort of emergency happens here on Oahu, Red Hill, the military could supply fuel to the international airport, Daniel K. Inouye. It could go to Honolulu Harbor operations, maybe even help Hawaiian Electric and other operations that are essential to keep life going if there is a war situation here. So I didn't know that, a new detail that we haven't heard much thanks to Anita's reporting.
Isn't there some sort of difference now? Because at the time, you're talking like 8 decades ago, this was state-of-the-art stuff. But now bombs are such that they can actually penetrate into the ground, right? I mean, we've kind of lost that argument.
It's really hard to believe. To think how much has changed since the 1940s when these tanks were built. It was all top secret. This was underground, protected from bombing, as you say. Of course, now we see all the maps and illustrations on TV and newspaper. You can go online. Everybody knows where Red Hill is. But along with that is the alarming awareness that it is near this aquifer. And now we have this very serious situation where drinking water has been poisoned.
Yeah, of course, water, extremely important during any kind of conflict and for everyday life, of course. Why not just move this jet fuel somewhere else where it's not above an aquifer?
You know, if the Navy does decide to move the jet fuel away from Red Hill, and some say that it might end up doing exactly that, it's going to be the Navy that makes that decision, not the state of Hawaii. But even if they were to do that, probably that jet fuel would not leave Oahu. I mean, this is a strategic U.S. military location. It's not going to go to facilities in Okinawa, not going to go to Guam. We got to maintain our close ties to the West Coast. It's going to stay here because, well, they need to supply ships and aircraft should some sort of conflict develop.
If you've been stressing about having to start paying your student loans again soon, here's good news. Today, President Biden announced another extension to the pause on student loan payments. The hold will now go through May 1st. The pause has allowed the balances of borrowers to be frozen with no payments required in most federal student loans. Interest rates have also stopped adding up, and collections on defaulted debt have been put on hold. Borrowers were supposed to start paying back on their loans in February.
The FAA today proposed 3 directives for Boeing 777-200 planes equipped with Pratt & Whitney engines. This follows an engine failure in February. The directives will require inspections and the strengthening of a key engine part and will allow these airplanes equipped with the PW4000 engines to return to service. A fan blade failure prompted an engine to fail on a United Airlines flight bound for Honolulu after takeoff from Denver on February 20th. The incident showered debris over nearby cities, but no one was injured and the plane safely returned to the airport. Well, it's one of the busiest travel days of the holiday season. Billy V joins us now from Honolulu's airport with more on what you need to know if you're planning to fly.
Thank you very much. We're here at Daniel K. Inouye International Airport in the Inter-Island Terminal, and we are seeing, of course, greater numbers of people than would usually be here at this time of the day. That's because they're all getting ready for the Christmas holidays and traveling to other destinations. We talked story with Jai Cunningham from the State Department of Transportation about some of the things that you should know before you come down to the airport.
Get here early. That'd be the first thing. You'd rather be early than trying to rush through everything. So that'd be probably, wish number 1 for you if you want to have a good and successful travel day during this holiday season. Another thing is parking. Just know that at all of our parking structures, we do have a limited number of parking. Now, they may not be at capacity, but they can quickly get near capacity. So if you have a chance, get dropped off, whether it be a cab or an Uber or a Lyft, or if it's just family member dropping you off. That way you don't have to worry about trying to find a parking space. We do have 3 parking structures, but like I said, they can get near capacity pretty quickly. The other thing, third thing, just know that when you are on airport property, the TSA has mandated you must have a mask on.
You feel pretty good about the whole traveling process and being around other people and etc.?
I do. Once I get off the plane, I'm a little bit more relaxed because, being in the plane, we're all cooped up, yeah. So, but other than that, I'm okay.
And also, let's talk about, with the Safe Travels Hawaii website, what should you do before you go on your trip and while you're on your trip?
So before you leave on your trip, you can do this at home before things get hectic. Go to travel.hawaii.gov and create your trip. Enter all your trip information. That's when you can also upload your vaccination document if you're using that as an exception to quarantine. Do all that ahead of time. Of course, if you're going to test, then you'll have to wait till you get your results before you upload that. But that must be done within 3 days of you boarding your flight.
So with all of this information, our hopes is that you have a stress-free and happy traveling holiday season. From Honolulu International Airport, I'm Billy V, Hawaii News Now.
Thanks, Billy, for that report, and good luck to anyone making it out there to those airports across the state. Going to take you live outside from our tower cam from downtown. Here on Oahu, things looking pretty good. Little clouds in the sky, but there is a weather advisory I need to let you know about. This is issued by the National Weather Service for the Big Island. There is a flood advisory still in effect till 3:15. Let's get an update on how those conditions will be changing. Here's Guy Hoggy.
It's going to be especially wet for Maui and for the Big Island today. We'll have a few scattered showers for Kauai and Oahu, and the wind statewide will be running pretty breezy at 15 to 25 miles an hour. And because of all the cloud cover and those brisk winds, well, temperatures will likely stay in the upper 70s. Now, we still have elevated surf for north and east shores. Not a great swell. Laniakea, though, probably firing, and east side's pretty choppy out there. The UV index is moderate at 3. So, again, we'll see scattered showers today, some heavy ones, some heavy downpours for Maui and the Big Island. And then slowly things will be easing up. Drier conditions due in just before Christmas, and then another disturbance bringing wet weather next week.
The USGS says the eruption at Halemaumau crater has paused, and based on the length of recent breaks, this one could last several days. The lava lake has risen 226 feet since the eruption began on September 29th. We know the most wonderful time of year can also lead to a lot of stress. A new survey finds unrealistic expectations of the holidays are stressing out both parents and kids. As Bradley Blackburn reports, you may get more from the holidays by doing less.
Mom Stephanie Mortimer knows the holiday season can be hectic. She's squeezing in some shopping with her son Eli and their friends.
We have to decorate the house, we have to get all the gifts, we have to make sure the kids have a memorable holiday.
In December, it can feel like the to-do list is longer than Santa's list.
Do you ever feel a pressure to get it a certain way?
For sure, yeah. And then you're not sure if everybody always notices. Right?
A new CS Mott Children's Hospital national poll finds parents are worried their holiday stress may be taking away from holiday joy.
A lot of them feel like that has a negative impact on their child's enjoyment of the holidays, and that's just so unfortunate.
The poll shows nearly a third of parents are stressed during the holidays by extra shopping, balancing finances, and especially keeping their family healthy. Moms are twice as likely as dads to experience high stress, and 1 in 5 parents believes their stress negatively affects their kids during the holiday season. Sarah Clark is the poll co-director.
I think in some families, we're trying to make up for some things missed over the last year or year and a half. And I don't really think that's the approach that is going to be most helpful.
Experts say to make the season brighter, sit down with your family and ask everyone what they really want from Christmas. Keep your favorite traditions alive, but think about which activities you can cut or minimize.
The presents and the holiday spirit and the meals, I guess.
What about the elf on the shelf?
Oh, yeah.
So check the to-do list twice and try to trim some of the stress for more joy this season. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
All right, we're going to start off with a little bit of a holiday theme for our From the Feed segment today. And we've been talking about all the shortages out there and the supply chain issues. Well, now it's impacting a big holiday treat. We're talking candy canes.
Uh-oh.
Yep, candy canes. A key ingredient, peppermint, is in short supply. According to the Department of Ag, peppermint production has declined 25% over the past decade. Ooh, so it's not specifically a pandemic problem, I guess there. Candy stores say even though there isn't a lot this year of candy canes, the ones they do have are flying off the shelf. And I think I said it last year when we did a candy cane story. Not my favorite.
Same.
Yeah. I said the only thing they're good for is sort of licking them down until they're sharp and you can stab your sister with it. So
They make they're pretty, but not my favorite
good decorations.
candy.
And I like making those little craft reindeer with the pipe cleaners and googly eyes. That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah. So Taco Bell, you guys, is adding something special to its menu for a limited time, and we mean limited. So get this. The fast food chain is featuring crispy chicken wings for just a week starting January 6th, and you can only order them after 2 p.m. Very specific.
Yeah.
So the $6 dish includes 5 bone-in wings coated in queso seasoning and served with spicy ranch. Chicken wings have become more popular recently as people crave comfort food during the pandemic.
And there was a shortage of chicken wings, too, not too long ago.
Yeah, also not one of my favorite things either.
I can do boneless. Not a huge fan of the bones on, for sure. And 5 pieces, I would need 2 orders, for sure.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be enough for me. All right, guys, there is a really cool story on your H&N digital platforms. This retired journalist has put together the stories of the casualties of the USS Arizona. Jim Mendoza brings us that story.
Japan's attack on the USS Arizona claimed the lives of 1,177 sailors and Marines. But who were these men?
I am a retired journalist. I was the editor of the newspaper here in Tucson.
Bobby Joe Buell Carter just finished writing short stories about every USS Arizona casualty from December 7th, 1941. It was a painstaking process.
We went everywhere from tiny little libraries to the New York City Public Library and the North Dakota Historical Society, just all over the country, looking for things, as you said, old microfilm, old archives. And it wasn't possible to find much, not at the way we had hoped to do it on a lot of the men.
Bill Carter's husband designed the USS Arizona Mall Memorial at the University of Arizona. Together, they crisscrossed the country searching for information.
Because they were the first, official victims of the war, most of them in their hometown paper got very large obituaries.
In some cases, the hunt led to living relatives who shared photographs and letters written by the young sailors before they died.
The letters to me are the thing that 100 years from now, that's what people are going to want to read. Because it's what's in the mind of an 18 or a 19-year-old guy far away from home for the first time. What were they thinking? I think that's the piece of the research with the most lasting value will be those letters. And I've collected those now along the way. Just within the last week, a couple of families have found me and have told me they have letters. And so those letters will be going to the University of Arizona Library.
And she found similarities among the Arizona's fallen. Many were raised by single parents, so joining the Navy was a way to support their families. And a large number came from small towns and farms.
There were 1,500 sailors on that ship, and that was the biggest place they'd ever lived.
Sadly, she could find only bits of background for Black Americans and sailors from Guam and the Philippines, who were the cooks and custodians on the ship.
These men sacrificed their lives for a country that treated them so poorly. Still, after all this research, it just amazes me.
Bill Carter's research and writing took 5.5 years. She's looking for a way to share those stories.
I'm still hoping to find a permanent site and hopefully a site that maybe has an app that can go with it.
For now, you can read every profile on the USS Arizona Mall Memorial's Facebook page. We've got a link on our website. Jim Mendoza, Hawaii News Now.
And I have not checked them all out, but what a cool idea there.
Yeah, such an important project, and I love the University of Arizona connection. John and I talk about our Tucson time a lot here on This Is Now.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And again, you can check out all that information on your H&N digital platform. Just click on the story that Jim has written up there. Let's get to some good news now.
All right. A perfectly preserved baby dinosaur has been discovered curled up inside its egg. So the 70-million-year-old fossil preserved the embryonic skeleton of a bird-like dinosaur. Here it is. It's been nicknamed Baby Yingliang after the name of the Chinese museum which houses the fossil. Now, experts say baby dinosaur bones are small and fragile and are very rarely preserved as fossils. That makes it a very lucky find. Now, the egg is around 7 inches long. The dinosaur was estimated to be 11 inches long from head to tail, and researchers believe as an adult, if it lived, it would have been about 6.5 to almost 10 feet long.
And I'm just going to freeze this picture right now. Whoa. That is a rendering, if I've ever seen one, of a baby dinosaur, because I've never seen one.
Yeah,
very cool story, though. We love our dinosaur news, and the fossil itself for our podcast listeners is really, really well intact, and it's very, very cool, fascinating story, and really making a buzz online. I've been seeing that one in a lot of places as well. You guys, that's going to do it for This Is Now. A couple programming notes to pass along to you. There will be no This Is Now on Friday for the holiday, but we will be here tomorrow, so don't worry. We'll be here for Christmas Eves. Also, Ashley's going to be coming up at 1st at 4 on KHNL. You don't want to miss that. And I want to leave you today with an awesome little video of animals opening presents at the London Zoo.
Oh, yes.
Why not?